Just give me a second. I'm just going to put it on the YouTube. That way it's not lost.
Adiyan.
Chalunga.
I have a question. Just probably my understanding is not right here. So when we in the last class, and the rendu vidama dravyam adravyam.
1 second wait பண்றீங்களா? ஒரே second wait பண்ணுங்க.
No problem. No problem.
Now you can go ahead. I think I have the YouTube on. It should be live. Live. Amma, you should. YouTube is live. Okay, go ahead, please.
So in the dravyam adravyam, so dravyam characteristic வந்து something which is keeps changing, and adravyam வந்து திரவியத்தை ஆசிரியத்து இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு. இந்த ஞானத்தை வந்து எனக்கு திரவியமா என்னால I am not able to perceive. இந்த ஞானம் வந்து it is உன்னுணத்துல தானே ஆசிரியமா இருக்குது. So I'm not able to perceive that jnanam to be a dravyam. So how do I perceive that?
ஞானம்ன்றது எப்படி திரவியம் அப்படின்ட்டா?
Because given that அது உன்னுணத்துக்கு ஆசிரியமா தானே இருக்கு. So I can't picture it jnanam by itself.
Very good question. See, Jnanam, what you are saying is Jnanam is residing or inhering in another substance under Theriyalenta.
Sorry, I muted myself. அது புரியுது. ஞானம் வந்து இப்ப ஜீவாத்மாக்குள்ள இருக்கு, எல்லா சித்துக்குள்ளாரையும் இருக்கு. அது புரியுது. But ஞானம் as a separate entity I am not able to perceive. How does it come under? Because it can exist in something else. How can it exist by itself is my question.
How can it exist by itself? See, the thing is, what is that something else Jnanam is existing in? First, figure that out.
So my understanding is it exists in all Chit and Paramatma.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if Jnanam is existing inside in Chit, in Chit, that is Jiva, and Paramatma Ishvara, right?
Yeah.
So what is that Jiva made of?
It's made of Jnanam, Jnanamayam. So andamari, see, I understand that, but physically I'm not able to எப்படி understand பண்ணிக்கிறதுன்னு எனக்கு புரியல. ஞானமயம் ஆத்மா, அயம் ஆத்மா அதெல்லாம் புரியுது, but as a dravyam by itself I'm not able to perceive it. That's all. Yeah.
Jnanam as a dravyam, right? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. Yes.
See, finally, what did we say about dravya here?
Changeable.
So how many dravyas are there?
There are as per this list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 every. How is it 8?
ஜடம் அஜடம் ரெண்டா பிரிச்சிருக்கேள். அந்த ஜடத்துல 2 வகை இருக்கு.
பிரகிருதி காலம்.
and அஜடத்துல வந்து திருப்பியும் 4 1 2 3 4 5 அந்த சப் கேட்டகரிஸும் சேர்த்து நான் சொல்றேன்.
நீங்க அப்படி சொல்லாதீங்க. see இது இங்க பிரத்யக்கும் பராக்கும் அது ஒண்ணும் ஒரு வஸ்து சொல்லலங்க. பிரத்யக்ல வஸ்து சொல்லல, பராக்ல வஸ்து. எங்க வஸ்து சொல்றீங்கன்னா திரவியம் சொல்றீங்க. இந்த லாஸ்ட் லீவ்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி பிரகிருதி காலம் ஜீவம் ஈஸ்வர நித்ய விபூதி தர்மபூத ஞான. These are the only 6 dravyas.
Yeah, 4 plus 2. Yeah.
Okay, now your question is how does jnanam a dravyam?
Yeah.
See, you have to think about, several things here, right?
Yeah.
See, out of this, these 6 dravyas, only 2 are sort of visible. Even that 2, one is not visible, one is visible. That is, Prakriti is visible, right?
Kalam is not visible. Only we can see the changes.
Kalam is inherited, intuited. Because change occurs, people become old. You look at the change and say that the time has elapsed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, out of this, Jiva is not visible. Ishvara is not visible. Nitya Vibhuti is not visible. Dharmabhuta Jnanam is felt, right?
Felt, yeah.
That means it exists for me. How do I know there is an external object? How do I wake up and see the sun? Because of my Dharmabhuta Jnanam, I can see. Right? So you have some kind of a concrete experience of Dharmabhuta Jnanam all the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Jiva, Ishvara, Nitya Vibhuti? We don't.
Well, we don't. Yeah. And yogis can. Jiva and Ishvara can. Yeah.
So once a person becomes a yogi, they can realize Jiva, Ishvara, and Nitya Vibhuti eventually.
Yeah.
Right? So the Jiva is also Jnana as an object. Right? Jiva is made of Jnana, Jnanamayam. Ilya? Ishvara is Jnanamaya, right?
Yeah.
So both are Chetana.
Yeah.
But they're right now, Jiva, Chetana, you have some idea that Aham Asmi, I am there, you know that.
Self-effulgent, yeah.
Self-presence, right? That is, you know the self-effulgence, so you know that you exist. You don't need any other thing. You don't see the, what do you call, I think, so I am, right? Descartes is, the Western thought, right?
Yeah.
So the think means if you think about a particular object, then that's a different question. What that person is saying that, look, I'm seeing something around me. I see the tree, I see the tiger, I see the sun. So I am under the Varavisham. Then so you are inhering there that through the external knowledge, you are taking an inference and say, yeah, I exist because I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Suppose you close your eyes and don't communicate with anything else, but still you have a feeling of I exist.
Yeah.
So that is the Swarupa Jnanam of Jiva, which always says that I exist, I exist, I exist. But unfortunately, that Swarupa Jnanam is not detailed for most people. The nature of I is not clear. So that will become clear when the Papa is gone, the Ajnana is gone, Avidya is gone, ignorance is destroyed. That will become clear, and that as an object which is made of Jnanam is visible to us.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Ishvara also, after Karma Yoga, what do you call it? When Bhakti Yoga becomes powerful, then Ishvara is realized in some way. That's what the Shastras say.
Yeah, and there's 3 levels also, they say, Parabhakti, Parajnana,
Paramabhakti. So the thing is, Dharmabhuta Jnana is sort of realizable right here, but the object called Jiva and Ishvara as objects are not realizable for the spiritually not progressed people.
Okay. Okay.
One can argue that I can see Ishvara in a Archamurti.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
And you can also pray to the Archamurti and communicate with the Archamurti, and because Ishvara is Archamurti is a direct avatara of Ishvara in the Sri Vaishnava tradition.
Yeah, one of the 5 forms.
Exactly. So, what is what you call Archamurti is also known to be something material.
Yeah.
So you're communicating through a material medium there.
Yeah, through Vigraha.
But the Archamurti exists within and communicates. It's easy for the ordinary people to communicate with the Lord using the Archamurti. And so Archamurti is directly, definitely Parabrahman only.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what is your question? Let us go into deeper.
Now, I think if my question was, can the Dharma Buddha Jnanam can be seen as a substance? Angada, I've had a problem to think it as a substance.
Okay. See, the definition of substance here is avastavat. That means it has phases.
Yeah. In that sense, it makes sense. Yeah. In that sense, it makes sense. Adiyan.
Yeah. Dharma Buddha Jnana has phases. When you sleep, that Dharma Buddha Jnana is reduced. When you wake up, the Dharma Buddha Jnana becomes present. It becomes expanded, right?
Yeah.
So these phases of that which we know already.
Yeah.
Even while you're awake, sometimes some things are very murky and not so clear. Because maybe you're sleepy or you're not in a mood or whatever it is. But after some time, you suddenly understand, oh my God, now I understand. Right? So Dharma Buddha Jnana has its contractions and expansions.
That's phases. Adiyan.
Adiyan? Okay. Any other questions before we start?
Thank you, Adiyan.
Okay. So let's start with a small prayer. I don't know whether I did it. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Simha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Paramastu. Any other questions before we go to the next section?
Namaste, sir. This is Prashant here.
Yes.
So I had one question, just one doubt. This Jnanam, whether it is different for both Jiva and Ishvara as per Vishishtadvaita.
Different means what?
Different means the nature of Jnana in a Jiva, and when it is realized, when the realization dawns about the Ishvara, like the difference between the two.
See, that goes through different phases, right? See, the thing is, originally, if one can argue, Mamayu Vamsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhutaha Sanatanaha, Bhagavad Gita says, right? That means
yes,
Jiva is an Amsha of Ishvara. Jiva is a part of the Ishvara, in a way.
Yes.
And if you look at it, this is a very powerful question. Because then we again come back to the original Upadana Karanatva. What is Jiva is made of? Jiva came out of, somebody, hold on a second. Okay, no issue. That's, oops, where did we go? Okay, Jiva came out of Brahman, like how the sparks came out of the fire, right?
Yes.
So when are they
like the rays of the sun?
See, they are different in the phase of creation. They are always different. One Jiva is different from the other Jiva. One Jiva is different from Ishvara. Right? That is all true in the phase of creation.
Yes.
But in the phase of Pralaya and this one, what do you call it? In the case of Pralaya and Moksha, it is very complicated. They are still different according to Vishishtadvaita. Still different, but they are not distinguishable. And even in Moksha, Aham Brahmasmi Tyanubhavati comes. What is the nature of that Anubhava? That cannot be explained in words at all here. Instead of Moksha, there are complicated issues there to explain. They say 4 levels of Nitya Vibhuti, Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Sayujya. And to make this more confusing, Bhagavata uses another term called Aikyamapyuta. It talks about Aikya there. That is, Bhagavata talks about Aikya. Somebody has to think about it. So what is the nature of that Aikya there? It's very complicated. It's not, definitely not, we don't have to go through it here. eventually there is a section called Brahma Pada, Brahmanubhava Padarthaha. Shri KSV has done a lot of research on that. What is this Brahmanubhava Padartha and what is the Moksha Swarupa? When we come there, we will figure that out.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of discussion there. In
Okay,
summary, I guess summary, because we are now sitting here, we will not be able to understand Nitya Vibhuti at all.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So if there is no question, we can go to the this one. But I want you to go with a full understanding. So if you have questions, please raise it now. Raise them now. Okay, then.
My question will actually be more related to next week's class, but Nikki, the way you explained it, I mean, there is like you and I seem to be on the same page on everything. In terms of the Pralaya state and Moksha state of Vishishta Advaita, and then when you're explaining certain things in the Bhagavad Gita class or what you write about, that it sounds different. So I'll wait for the class.
Yeah, see, thing is, see the Upadana Karanatva Vishya, right? Where did it come out of? How did it is a very, very complicated argument and complicated Vishya. Okay, even the best of the scholars have disagreed with each other right within Advaita, Vishishta Advaita. We're not even talking about Advaita scholars and all. We're talking about Vishishta Advaita scholars. They themselves have different opinion about Upadana Karanatva. And that we will discuss next week. And I would like every one of you to attend the next week's class because that will be a very interesting and very important discussion. Okay, and I'm going to only say why the problems came about and how Sri KSV solves them and how the other people may not agree with it. And then how KSV Swamin challenges the traditional view regarding the material causality of this universe. That's all. Okay? We will do that next time. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Prashant. So I had also read in SMS Chari's book, SMS Chari sir's book about this, and in that case also he says that Brahman, although in the Pralaya state and in the creation state, in both states, although it may look different, but it is actually the same. Like basically, the organically it is same.
We will come to that next time because
Okay,
more complicated and it's material causality issue, not this particular classification is right now we are in classification. Okay, we are in very early stages right now.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, now we go to the class. Atra idam avadheyam. We need to understand this clearly. This is the view. This is slight details what Acharya KSV gives on this. Pratyak parak padayor arthe asti kaschit visheshaha etat siddhante. In this particular siddhanta, there is a special meaning for the word pratyak. There is a special meaning for the word parak. Let us take that a little bit in detail. Paramate pratyakatma paramatma eva. This is very important to understand. Paramate means this is Paramate here means actually Advaita. It does not mean Dvaita, as far as I know. Okay, but that may, well, I'm almost sure that is true. So let us say what that means using this. Or let me also make this bigger a little bit. And why is this not going further? Oh yeah, here. You probably can see better now. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. See here, what is the Pratyak principle? What is the Parak principle? The Pratyak principle means Swasmai Bhasamanatva. That means I know myself by myself. And there are two items under the Pratyak principle. In Tamil, they say in Pratyak is Tanakku Tannale Tan Tottugai. The person knows by himself or herself without any other medium. That is Jiva, Ishvara. There are two entities which are Pratyak principles in the Vishishtadvaita Siddhanta. What in Advaita is, there is only one entity which is a Pratyak principle, because there is only one Chetana. The Chetana is only Jiva, you can call it as Jiva, doesn't matter. There is only one entity, that is only Atman. There is no two consciousnesses. There is only one consciousness. The Jiva is Pratibimba or reflection in matter, or it is a reflection or some kind of a separation. Antahkaranavachinnam chaitanyam, they say. Antahkarana means it is reflected on the Antahkarana. Antahkarana means mano buddhi, ahankara. That is mind, intellect, and the ahankara. They talk about that ahankara in a different way. Ego in a way, right? So these, the one Brahman gets reflected there and then makes the Jiva alive. That is, the Jiva exists because of that. So when you start looking deeper into Jiva, that Jiva is not a separate entity at all. It appears like a separate entity now, but it just is only Brahman only there. So here in this category, Pratyak is only one, that is Atman. In Advaita, in the Vishishtadvaita, you have two separate knowers, two sets of knowers. One is Jiva category, the other is the Ishvara category. Siddhante tu Jiva Ishvarasya Bhedasya. That is, they are different. Jiva and Ishvara are different. Jivanam Parasparam Bhedasya cha. Among Jivas, they are separate from each other. One Jiva is not same as the other, and they will never be same as the other. Satyatva Angikara, that is real. Difference is real. Sarvepi Atmanaha Swaswadrishtya Pratyagatmanaha Atmanaha Eva. All Jivas are Pratyak Atmas only, from their Swaswadrishtya, from their own principles, from their own view. Swadrishti is personal view. So from my personal view, I know that I exist and I know I am. I can know myself by myself. From your perspective, you know yourself by yourself. Even if you know just that, oh, there is something called I am aware that I exist. That's all. Doesn't matter. So there are separate Pratyagatmas. In here, the Advaita poses a very, very different set of questions, saying that whatever is whatever I experience here, or see, touch, feel, or something, they are all illusory in the final sense, because they all change. So whatever changes is not permanent, perishable, they are illusory. And even the I feeling is illusory. So that is a different view. We will get there, because we need to know Advaita to understand Vishishtadvaita, because in future they are going to compare these two systems very heavily. There's a lot of similarity with Dvaita, so we don't compare Vishishtadvaita to Dvaita that often. Parabudhya tu tvam saha ityapi vyavaharat atma paragapi bhavati. This is an important point. See, I also talk about you, knowing that you are a sentient entity. So your Jivatma can be addressed as you by me. In Advaita, the word Tvam always refers to matter or Prakriti of some kind. So, since the Jiva, separate Jiva does not exist, if from the Advaita view, if I talk about you, all I know is I can just say that, oh, I see some person because I see material body. That's all. And what it refers to internally, it refers to only one Atman, which is common to everybody in Advaita. So, but in Vishishtadvaita, there is a lasting entity called you. Even in Advaita, there is a lasting entity called you. But when all the adjuncts fall off, and because the adjuncts are illusory, only one thing exists. So, particularly in the Vishishtadvaita, can somebody see some other Jivatma in a real, what do you call, in a realized state? It is probably possible. So one Jivatma can see other Jivatmas as similar. In the Bhagavad Gita and even in later chapters, when we look at Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and all, we will see what is the nature of realization in these two systems. Atma paragapi bhavati. Atma is understandable for another Atma. So let's go look into the other, this one. What is a parak? Parak principle is here. Parasmai eva bhasmanatam. It is known only to others. So this Dharma Bhuta Jnana does not know itself. It can only show. So Jivatma can only know. Jivatma knows itself, but it doesn't know external objects without the help of Dharmabhuta Jnana. That is why Jivatma and Dharmabhuta Jnana are associated inextricably. Here where there is a statement in the Upanishad which says, Na vijñātuhu vijñātehe viparilopo vartate. That means vijñātuhu is Jiva, vijñātehe means Dharmabhuta Jnana, viparilopo vartate. Dharmabhuta Jnana does not get destroyed, which belongs to a Jivatma. It is always there. But Dharmabhuta Jnana contracts and expands based on situations, based on karma of that jiva. In the moksha, Dharmabhuta Jnana is said to be all pervading. It does not have any restrictions or obstacles because all the karmas are gone. When the karmas are destroyed, the obstacles to the knowledge of Jivatma are all gone. So the Jivatma becomes Sarvajna, and through Dharmabhuta Jnana, Jivatma knows. But even in the state of moksha, Dharmabhuta Jnana does not know. Dharmabhuta Jnana only shows, like how light shows. The light rays show. The luminosity shows. So Parak principle is to be known to somebody else. That is Parasmai eva bhasmanatvam. That is revealed to somebody else. So Nitya Vibhuti is itself is self-luminant. It is, you don't need any other light to show Nitya Vibhuti, like in the case of Prakriti. Prakriti, like, you know, inert matter needs some light or something else to be perceived. So there is difference between in the Parak principle, Nitya Vibhuti and Dharmabhuta Jnana are included. Prakriti a Parak? Is the question. Prakriti is, first of all, not self-luminous. Parataha eva bhasamanatvam. It is jadam. It's only known to others. This is known for the sake of others. That means Dharmabhuta Jnana can be only realized by a jiva. they did not categorize Dharmabodha Jnana into the Jada category. Dharmabodha Jnana, even though it is not self-knowing, that is, it doesn't know, it is self-revealed. Swatah Basamanatam, it is luminous. That is why, because I don't need another Dharmabodha Jnana to know my Dharmabodha Jnana. I already know, because if there is an object, I know that object was revealed to me through Dharmabodha Jnana, which I already have. I don't need a second Dharmabodha Jnana to know my Dharmabodha Jnana. Hope it's clear. There is a chat which came up. Exactly was my confusion. Okay, good. Okay. Now we'll go to the thing here. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are a lot of statements where what do you call Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjana sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha, in the 6th chapter. Atmaupamyena means because of the similarity of Atmas. Samam pashyati yorjana, then he sees everybody similar. Even if you look at it, Shuni chaiva swapake cha panditaha samadarshinaha. A dog, a pandit, or a dog eater is seen as similar. Sama is similar in the Bhagavad Gita. There, the similarity is in the Jivatma. Whether that sentient entity is a dog or a dog eater or a pandit. So definitely we consider other individuals also as visible to us in a way, at least somewhat. But when the maturity of Jivatma Sakshatkara becomes higher, they can actually see other entities, other living Jivatmas, that is Chetanas. Ateva Ahamarto Jadajara Mishrita Ityapina. This is a very important issue. What is Ahamartha? Ahamartha means the object indicated by the word I. Nanu என்றது யாரை குறிச்சு சொல்றது? And the object that object is Ahamartha. In this, I will ask you a quick question because I want to make sure everybody is not sleeping. What is Ahamartha in Advaita? What is Ahamartha in Vishishtadvaita? Question for you. This is a study group, so questions will pop up often.
Okay. In Advaita, Ahamartha is Paramatma, and Vishishtadvaita is Jiva.
But in Vedic
one second. Just let me understand. Ahamartha, what you said
is Brahman.
Brahman is Ahamartha in Advaita according to you. And what else you said? Ahamartha is in Vishishtadvaita what?
The Pratyagatma, the Jivatma.
Jivatma. Okay. Any other views? Somebody else said something, please.
Again, in Vasishtadvaita Paramla kuda aham can mean 3 different things. It could sometimes imply body, sometimes imply Jivatma, and sometimes implies Paramatma, depending on the context.
Okay, good. Then what about
if you get into the detail in the class based on what Krishna had said earlier, I kind of limited to what?
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Well, no, let's get to the question back. So I think, please mention your name before you say, who said this? The other person? Jagan, I understood.
This is
Swami
Gauri.
Gauri. Yeah. So the thing is, according to you, what is Ahamartha in Advaita?
In Advaita, generally, I could be wrong here. I think they mean like there's only one Atma for them. So it's Brahman.
No. But we first understand what does ahamartha mean. Ahamartha means the object indicated by the term I. If you say, I know this, I am going to Australia. If you say that I, what does that I refer to in the Advaita? What does that I refer to? So obviously ahamartha is an object, some kind of a entity, right? So you have to say in Advaita, what entity does that aham pada, the word aham refers to what entity in Advaita?
Brahman.
Okay, anybody else?
Namaste, sir. This is Prashant here. So, ahamartha means whatever this is my opinion. Ahamartha in Advaita would be that there is actually it's Brahman, so there is no aham, there is no I as such.
Okay, that's one view. Any other person here? Please speak up. This is an open discussion. It's important because we understand through discussion here, because the darshana is not a straightforward story like talking about in Ramayana Katha or something like that. This is only because it's very hard. We are talking about things we don't see. Out of the dravyas, only one dravya is visible, Prakriti is visible. 5 dravyas are missing from our direct sight.
And even Prakriti can't be seen.
Not the original Prakriti cannot be seen. Only some products can be seen. Some karya or effects can be seen.
Namaste, sir. This is
Yes.
Prashant. So in Vishishtadvaita, aham, like Jiva and Brahman, although they may be similar, but still they are different because Nitya Vibhuti exists and Dharma Bhuta Jnana also exists.
No. Focus on the question. Only I want a digital, yes, digital this or that. That means ahamartha in Vishishtadvaita, what is it? Ahamartha in Advaita, what is it? You need to give me one word here, one word there. Because we cannot consider details now.
Okay. In Vishishtadvaita, ahamartha would be Jiva.
And in Advaita it is Brahman, right?
Yes.
Okay, somebody else. I want some other answer, some other view. You can say something. Suppose you differ from, see, till now we got the same answer from 3 people. But so if you differ from that answer, let me know.
I had answer with ahamartha, like I doesn't remain in Advaita. So it's only Brahman that way.
Okay, we got that. You already told this, right? No, anybody else? There are only 3 people on the call, or how many people are on the call?
I think I can't answer this. I can't answer this one, I think.
Okay, fine. Well, see, at least speak up and say, even if you cannot answer, you just speak up and say, now we heard from somebody else. Champaka Mami answered. Now, please.
I'm a little bit confused.
Okay, fine. How many people are there on this call? Let me check that. 5 people.
One is you, so that's 4 students.
Okay, the other people dropped off. We had a couple of more people. Okay, fine. See, this is a very interesting question because this is going to become a big issue in the future. Ahamartha in Advaita is ego, ahankara only. That ego means it is a antahkarana. And the antahkarana avachinnam chaitanyam they say. So the thing is, it refers to...
I wanted to tell that, but I was confused. That's why I didn't answer.
It is a hard issue because Swami Vedanta Deshikar goes into a lot of analysis on this. So in Advaita, you cannot directly refer to the Brahman. The reason is Brahman is not an object of knowledge. You can only become Brahman in Advaita. You will never be able to know Brahman. If you think you know Brahman, you are only knowing your ego, your past samskaras, is the internal organ, Antakarana only you know. You really don't know Brahman, because Brahman is not knowable at all. Brahman is always a witness and a subject in Advaita. Brahman is never an object in Advaita. This is a very serious difference between Advaita and Vishishtadvaita. Brahman is knowable in Vishishtadvaita to some extent. A person like Narada may know Lord Krishna directly, and so even that Narada may not understand Krishna totally well, but he has a better perception of Lord Krishna than ordinary person. So Brahman in for Advaita, who is Krishna, Brahman is known there, but that is only Saguna Brahman which is known there, and that is not an object at all. Finally, the Saguna Brahman has, when it becomes a full realization, is not there. And then what do you call, there is a question become, does Brahman knows himself in Advaita? Again, this is a question for all of you. Does Brahman knows himself in Advaita?
No, Nirvishesha, so he doesn't know anything.
Anybody else?
He can't know himself because there are no attributes, and something without attributes cannot be defined.
Exactly, right. So Brahman cannot know himself. Swayam api na janati is what Shankaracharya says. So in Advaita, Ahamartha, whenever I mention I am seeing, I was happy, I was unhappy, I got caught into this mess because I did a mistake at work. All these things refer to something which is not Brahman. It is not visible outside, but it is visible inside. That is why it is known as Antakarana. It is an inner instrument which is not visible, but it is in the form of either samskaras or mind, which does a lot of things like it questions, it has doubts. Samshayo, Nishchayo, Garvaha, Smaranam, Vishaya, Abhi. When somebody says, oh, I come from this family, do you know? I'm actually a student of this person, do you know? All this is Garva. And so that is not Atma. So in Advaita, all these things are not Atma. It's not even a Jivatma, because Jivatma is not separate in Advaita. And it doesn't refer to Brahman also. It refers to an external Mithya entity which will go away, that is ego. Further, I am artho agre. See, I am making this a little slow now, but I can go very fast after some time because some concepts have to be understood by everybody, that's all. I am artho agre jiva sare 7 vistarene vicharyate. We will go into a lot more details when we start looking into the concept called jiva. Why Vishishtadvaita is holding to a permanent entity called jiva when Advaita is dismissing it as just an apparent entity. Ataha eva paraktvam na jadatva paryayam. So here the term paraktva is not exactly jada. This has to be understood properly. So we'll go again back to the set here. Paraktva is parasmay, it is known to others. It is not exactly same as jada, because jada is by nature not luminous at all. This is luminous. That is dharmabhuta jnanam is self-evident. See, without knowing an object like a pot or what do you call? See, a pot is known only because of my dharmabhuta jnana. So dharmabhuta jnana is there before I can see a pot. Dharmabhuta jnana is there. So that is why it is self-evident. It is swataha bhasmanatvam, it is self-evident, and also it is known to others because it's known to the Jivatma, not to itself. Here in the case of Prakriti, it is not self-luminous. It doesn't know itself. And it is also not visible directly unless there is some light or something which can help me see it. So my Dharma Bhuta Jnana can make that visible. Through my Dharma Bhuta Jnana, which flows through my Jivatma, through my senses and this body operators, then I know Prakriti. Okay, next, we'll come back.
Even the light that we see is Prakriti, then I mean,
Prakriti da. Prakriti da. Light is Prakriti only. The Rupatra and the see here, it is not exactly scientific as we know, right? It's not like light as what is this light, an object or something. Light under the, is it a particle? Is it energy or something like that? See, you can say light is a dravya ashrita because a luminous entity like a sun has light in it. Light is inherent in a luminous object. So that comes under, light could be energy also, and light could come under a rupam also. So here the classification of real physical objects is a little complicated. It's not exactly scientific in nature. That's why it become very complex in the Adravya-sara, and Adravya-sara is very complicated. But we just have to get our view of it. It is more philosophical view here in the sense that why are we interested in Adravya, and all this classification? Again, I question to everybody. Why are we interested in this?
Only then it can perform the yoga to attain mukti, clear understanding, so that there is no confusion.
Exactly. Mukti is the goal. It is not to compete with Einstein's view or Newton's view or somebody else's view of understanding of Prakriti, who will be creating new papers, new ideas, new theories, and keep on writing about it forever because this world is going to be there, right? So that is not the purpose. Our purpose is, how do I get out of this world? How do I understand the bondage nature of this external universe? How is it binding me? Why is it binding me? How can I get out of it? That means these are binding because they create attractions to me. And because of attraction, I want to taste, through my senses to feel the external objects and think that I am finding some happiness in it. But I want to find permanent happiness, which is mukti. For that, I need to know adravya, and all these classifications. Now, jadatvam to aswayam prakashatvam. Jadatva means that which is not self-luminous. Tatcha swayam prakashe atmani anyadrishtyapi katham syat. Swayam prakashe atmani, the self-luminous, that is atma is jivatma, say, for example, here. It is swayam prakasha, self-luminous. Anyadrishtyapi katham syat. So the thing is, jadatvam to aswayam prakashatvam. So the thing is, if I look at somebody else's jivatma, that is not visible to me. Let's go back here. So tatcha swayam prakashe atmani jadatvam. The thing is, jada is known to the outside. It is not jada is not self-luminous. Can jiva of somebody else be visible to us as a jada? We don't know. How can we know? If I say, oh, I see Jagan Swami, I saw Jagan Swami at the airport. Is that Jagan Swami visible to me or just Jagan Swami's body visible to me?
Just the body.
Body only. So the thing is, but is that Jagan Swami, which is, suppose that Jivatma is visible, is that Jivatma Jada? Because it is known to outside. So the thing is, that is why we should not say just this Prakriti is known to outside. We should not say Prakriti as, oh, Prakriti can be defined as that which is visible to others. You cannot do that because Nitya Vibhuti is visible to others too. So the classification is done in a different way here. Ataha parataha eva bhasamanatvam jadatvam. It's vertical. It is not self-luminous. That is why it is jada. Swataha bhasamanatvam ajadatvam. Self-luminosity is known as ajada. Swataha swasmai bhasamanatvam pratyaktam. That which is known to oneself by itself without any other medium, that is known as pratyaktam. Parasmai swataha bhasamanatvam paratvam. So for the others, it is luminous automatically. So you don't need a physical light to view Vaikuntha in Vaikuntha. The Vaikuntha is self-luminous. You don't need another light in Vaikuntha to see Vaikuntha. Parasmai swataha bhasma. It is self-luminous, but it is known to a living person, a sentient person in Vaikuntha. Natu paratho bhasamanatvam. It is not just a jada. It is not a jada. Because paratho bhasamanatvam becomes jada vastu. Athava jada paryayaha para shabdaha anya eva ajada sadharana para shabdaha anya eva. So there are two types of knowing for an external entity. The external entity, where did we go here? Yeah. So the thing is, so Nitya Vibhuti is also known to another person. Dharmabhuta Jnana is also known to another person other than Dharmabhuta Jnana. So other than Nitya Vibhuti, somebody else knows Nitya Vibhuti. If you look at it, Prakriti also is known by somebody else too, because Prakriti doesn't know itself. And it has to be known through some conscious entity, either to Jiva or Ishvara. So in that sense, it is known from outside, known to outside. But Nitya Vibhuti and Dharmabhuta Jnana are categorized in a different way, and it was not categorized as within the Jada Padartha. One could have categorized Jada and say it is only visible to others, and we could say Prakriti, Kala, Nitya Vibhuti and Dharmabhuta Jnana, these all could have come here. In only one way they separated out, because it is not exactly like Prakriti, which is not self-luminous. Nitya Vibhuti and Dharmabhuta Jnana are self-luminous. They are visible by themselves without the help of light or any other secondary entity. That is why Dharmabhuta Jnana, to know Dharmabhuta Jnana, you don't need another Dharmabhuta Jnana.
Again, if I have to leave.
It's already late, right?
Yeah,
no problem. See, we also should stop at 7 because I also need to get to another work. Over 2 minutes, any question, 1 or 2 minutes. If you can leave, Swamin. If other people have question, I will answer and then close this. So did we finish that paragraph at least? Adhikam Jivasare Bhavishyati. The next will be explained in Jivasara. That's what this whole paragraph. See, I took a little time on this paragraph because people have to understand the view of Vishtadvaita and Advaita. Hope this is not boring and too slow.
Namaste, sir. This was good. Actually, I got to learn better about Advaita also in this.
Okay.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah,
the aham they say as ego. Now it makes sense because on the aham arinjada, then you can understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was a very good point. Yeah, thank you. And I know maybe I'll ask this question in next class about the Dharmabhuta Jnanam. Maybe it's not time now. I'll ask next class.
Why don't you ask, just for the sake of record, ask it. We'll answer later. We'll just hear your question.
Okay. The question was, you mentioned that in Mukti state, the Dharmabhuta Jnanam, what we get is we can perceive anything everywhere, like our Paramatma. So then the question some might have, then can the Mukta Nitya Jivan can be Antaratma because he can perceive everything. So where Upadrishta, Anumanta Acha, like I can kind of convince myself, like, you can see, but you can't be an permitter. You can be an overseer. So on the question when you said the Dharma Buddha Jnanam can pervade anything, kind of everywhere.
See, can pervade everywhere. Upadrashta Anumantacha means that is become Brahman, right? See, Upadrashta Anumantacha is in Jivatma in the Bhagavad Gita, it is Jivatma. Upadrashta Anumantacha Bhakta Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmeti Chapyuktaha Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. That is 13th chapter, right? There, the context is different. The context is Jivatma there. Upadrashta Anumanta is only with respect to this body and other thing. It is not with respect to any other body and things like that. So let's see, why don't you think about your question very deeply and try to write the question very clearly, then we will answer it, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaskaram. Thank you everybody. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Prabhupada Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Prabhupada Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayodana Prabhupada Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Paramastu. Please give feedback on these lectures, whether they're too slow, too dull, not interesting, anything, any questions, please put on the study group. Thank you. Namaskar.